What's up, guys? Welcome to the brand new named show, The Wrestling Rundown. And we are your hosts. I am the straight edge advocate, Travis Colt. This is Mr. Top 5, Thomas Wolf, and the wrestling encyclopedia, Kevin Hawk. We're going to be talking about it's kind of a slow week this week. We didn't have a pay-per-view. We didn't have a bunch of returns on Raw, but we still had some interesting stuff. So we're going to start off with the Raw review. We opened up with the first ever, I think, singles promo for Roman Reigns. He finally got his alone time on the mic. It wasn't an interview with someone. It was literally just him talking. It was him talking about his chances in the Fatal 4-Way, the main event coming up at Battleground. I felt it was a really strong moment for Reigns. Granted, he's not the greatest on the mic, but I think he had his moments, and I think he was able to kind of get his personality across.
Yeah, I think Reigns will continue to develop his mic skills, especially if he keeps working at angles involving Triple H and John Cena, two guys who are completely excellent on the mic.
I hope they don't make him do too much more mic work. About the level he's doing right now is fine. I think his presence is so strong and intimidating, he doesn't need to do a lot of promos. He doesn't need to talk a lot.
Yeah, I get the strong silent type. It makes sense, but at the same time, champions need to be able to do those promo spots or have someone do the promo spots, and I don't see Roman Reigns as a manager type of guy.
Right.
Yeah, that's WWE's just breeding him that way. That's the way they do things.
Yeah, it could work. But obviously, Roman Reigns' strongest point came when he was interrupted by Kane.
Yes.
And Kane didn't say anything. He just stood up there at the top of the ramp and just kind of stared at him. But we had Roman Reigns say, "Are you the devil's favorite demon? Because lately you just look like you're Triple H's lapdog." And then he corrected himself by saying, "Actually, it's more like you're Randy Orton's bitch." And that got a huge pop. It pissed Kane off. Kane came down, big brawl, and Roman Reigns looked really strong. I'm enjoying Roman Reigns segments every week a bit more because he's getting more involved, and I feel like he's coming into his own as a single star. I feel not that I don't feel this way about Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, but I really feel like Roman Reigns as a whole, he does not need the Shield.
Yeah, well, I think it's more noticeable with Reigns because Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose were two guys who came in and we all kind of knew who they were and knew that they could carry themselves on their own merit. We've watched Roman Reigns evolve to this point.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that he's at that point. Our first match of the night, we had another great match between the Wyatts and the Usos. This was just non-stop action. The crowd was hot for it the whole time. We had the Wyatts win again.
Yeah, these guys are getting paired off really, really frequently, and it's kind of one of those moments where a lot of the fans are going, we've seen this match 100 times in the last couple months, but at the same time, they're able to keep it different every single go-around, and they deliver.
Yeah.
These guys deliver on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I think the one thing, I love watching these two go at it. I love their match at Money in the Bank. They had great matches leading up to Money in the Bank. They had great spots in the Cena-Wyatt feud. The only thing I'm hoping is, because now we know that the Wyatts are getting a title shot, 2 out of 3 falls, at Battleground.
Personally, my favorite way of tag team titles on the line, 2 out of 3 falls.
You being a fan of the way they do it, Chikara.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm worried about is that they'll have this match, and it'll get to a point where the Wyatts will take the titles, and then they'll keep running the same storyline, and have the Usos take it back, or I feel like
the Usos chasing the
titles. It'll be the Usos chasing the Wyatts, and the Wyatts chasing the Usos. I'm really hoping they don't do that.
My opinion is if they keep Stardust and Goldust together, you're gonna get the Wyatts taking the titles and then feuding with Stardust Goldust.
I would like to see Dust to Dust get into the title picture.
Yeah.
I guess if they wanted to go with Bizarre versus Bizarre, it'd be a hell of.
There you go.
That'd be an interesting situation there if you had Dustin us
Yeah.
promoing and feuding against the Wyatts. The next segment we had a promo on the back of, obviously, Triple H and Stephanie weren't Raw.
They were on vacation.
Yeah, the Authority was on vacation again, by the way, because they were on vacation like a month ago and Vicky was in charge, or Brad Maddox was in charge. This is before he got fired, so they need to stick around and do the friggin' job. Yeah, the segment we had was an Authority promo. We had Randy Orton, Kane, and Seth Rollins all kind of talking in the back, and you could really feel the tension between all three of them building, because you got Randy Orton and you got Kane in the Fatal 4-Way at Battleground, and then you got Seth Rollins, Mr. Money in the Bank, coming in and throwing, I'm the young kid, I've got this title shot.
Yeah, with his hey, if either of you guys win, I'll think twice before cashing in the briefcase.
Yeah,
sure we will.
I think that was a really interesting line because it wasn't I won't cash it in. It's I'll think twice.
Yeah, I'll give it a thought. Whereas obviously if Cena or Roman wins, he's just gonna go straight out.
Which means Dean Ambrose will also go straight out.
Yeah, this is
maybe crooked out because he's Dean Ambrose.
It'll just be a clusterfuck if he tries to take the title.
Yeah.
So that kind of puts an interesting field going into the next. We got one more week until Battleground happens, so it'll be interesting to see what happens leading up to that pay-per-view. See if maybe, because the Authority's returning on Raw next week, or this coming Monday, and so we'll see if anything that happened last week has backlash on Triple H or Stephanie or anything like that.
Kane said that his goal was to make sure the championship comes back to the Authority.
Yeah. This is the one thing that's potentially interesting to me about this Fatal 4-Way match, is if Kane stays loyal to Randy Orton or not. Well, I think that's the big story of the match.
Exactly, because he did follow up with, Rollins left the room, and Orton goes, I'm really starting to hate that kid. And then Kane said, yeah, but not as much as I'm starting to hate you.
Yeah.
So will Kane go out for himself, or will he do what's quote-unquote best for business?
What's not best for business?
Oh, God.
Stephanie continues on her tirade against Nikki Bella.
Oh, that match. Yeah.
So
fuck that match.
Yeah, it really wasn't a match because it was touted as a divas bout where both divas will have one arm tied behind their back. Nikki Bella came out, and her opponent was Alicia Fox. The referee was the crazy bitch, the crazy five-head.
I was going to say, the only way it'd be even is if you had made Alicia Fox tie part of the floor. Then they'd be even.
See, and I knew something was up because the referee tied Nikki's arm behind her back.
Predictability. Bad ref.
As soon as he took too long, and then I was like, you know what? Alicia's going to find some way to get out of it, and she's going to beat the hell out of Nikki. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Alicia was clever and entertaining while doing it.
Yeah,
she was very fun.
Yeah, when I say fuck that match, I'm fully behind Alicia Fox. And Nikki Bella's improved a lot.
Me too.
And Nikki Bella's improved a lot this past couple of years. She's not great, but she's
getting there.
Yeah. So the match could have been good, it just wasn't.
Yeah. It was, it's just continuing, she's got some issue with Nikki because I'm guessing it's because Brie made her look like a fool at Payback, and it's a strange storyline, and it continues. I've got another note for main event, so we'll get there in a second. The next match we had Rusev defeat RVD, but before the match it was during the match. We had a pre-recorded message from Zeb, and he was issuing a challenge to Rusev for Battleground to face Jack Swagger.
Which I thought
Jack Swagger.
I thought it was weird that he's like, Lana, maybe you didn't understand my English. So Rusev, I'm talking to you directly. When Lana's the one who actually speaks English.
Rusev speaks less English than Lana,
but he understands it. Obviously, we'll go into that on SmackDown.
Yeah, it's
funny facial expressions.
But obviously, Rusev is still undefeated at this point. He defeated RVD. RVD got a lot more offense than I expected.
Yeah, many spin kicks and shit.
Spin kicks and shit. Hashtag that. the Rusev Van Dam match, I think, setting up for Rusev to face Swagger.
Yeah.
Because I felt like a trend of them putting Rusev against people Swagger has faced recently. With the fact that they ran him against Big E, who he had a feud with in the end of January, early February. And then Van Dam, who was involved with Swagger and Barrett, Cesaro in that clusterfuck of U.S. Intercontinental title shit going on.
Yeah, you were making that connection. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And this was actually something that you were asking for. You know, getting something that makes Rusev look strong.
Yeah.
By having him beat a credible opponent, and he beat RVD.
A credible opponent who knows how to make strong people look strong.
Yeah.
Which is RVD.
So, I don't know, did we ever get a confirmation that Jack Swagger and Rusev would have a match?
Not yet, no.
Not that I've seen. So, what they'll probably do, they'll probably have like that final face-off on Raw. That's when they'll say that, alright, they'll be doing that match.
Alright, then we have the rematch from Friday Night SmackDown.
Randy Orton versus Dean Ambrose. Rematches. Yeah, we've already talked about this. Don't do rematches.
But it is Randy Orton and Dean Ambrose, so.
And they beat the crap out of each other.
I'm really into how much Orton puts Ambrose over in matches.
Yeah, he sells, he doesn't do a lot of the no selling. He really makes you feel that Ambrose is really putting a beat on him.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't doubt that I want to fight Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose would hurt me.
Fight Dean.
He's calling you out. Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Hawk. Dean Ambrose, if you accept Kevin Hawk's challenge, post in the comments below. Randy Orton would defeat Dean Ambrose. It was, obviously we could kind of guess that Orton was going to win because they're not going to make any of the main event guys for Battleground look. They're not going to have them lose matches.
They want to make everybody, especially the challengers going in, look as powerful as possible.
Yeah.
Because Cena's in such jeopardy.
I know. Our next matchup, we had Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler. And the winner would face Sheamus the next night on main event for the U.S. title.
I thought the stipulation of this match was going to be whoever can go the longest without getting a concussion wins.
Sadly, Del Rio probably won that.
Yeah, either way, Del Rio won.
Anyway.
So.
Yeah, Del Rio did win. Neither of them got a concussion. But,
congratulations, Del Rio.
That we know of, at least.
You won, but only thanks to Fandango and his dancing in front of JBL on the commentator's table.
Yeah, we've got the issues between Ziggler and Fandango because Summer Rae made out with Ziggler the night after Money in the Bank, and so there's still that going on. That whole love triangle thing got really weird.
Yeah.
We'll get into more of that here in a bit.
Yeah.
So Del Rio would go on to face Sheamus on Tuesday on main event, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. Up next, we had a Dust to Dust promo. Still really weird, but I'm starting to get behind it.
Finally. Now we have Stardust blowing what appears to be Stardust.
Yeah, like literally
promos.
Little golden
blowing
stars.
his dusty loads on people.
Oh, I can't believe you said that.
The American Queen, if you will.
So yeah, I'm definitely on board with Dust to Dust now. It's taking me a while to get used to Stardust because it took me a while to get used to Goldust. And so now that I have to deal with two of them, it's...
Double your pleasure, double your fun.
That's not something. You don't say that. We're going to move on to... so we'll move on to a little bit more awkward situations.
Yeah,
here.
this was funny though. I saw it coming from a mile away. But,
Fandango catches up to Layla, and she's wondering if he's jealous that Summer Rae kissed Dolph Ziggler, and he's trying to make her understand that she's the only one for him. And they finally get that like lovey-dovey. They start making out, and then they hug, and Fandango looks over, and I feel like this should have been a scene in a movie.
Yeah.
Where like Summer Rae is standing in the door. Like I felt like it was a dream sequence almost.
Yeah.
Like Summer Rae is sitting there, she looks all sexy, and she like sashays away, and then he's left like awkwardly hugging Layla.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to see over
Yeah.
there.
I'm not really a fan of when wrestling tries to put these cinematic movie type stuff in.
Yeah, they could have gone above and beyond with it. I mean, they could have done like made it all like foggy around.
Okay,
or, like,
when they do
stars
it, when they do it to that extent, it's funny. When they do it just enough where it's unbelievable, I don't know.
It looked like it belonged more on MTV than it did WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had Jerry the King Lawler bring Bret Hart out. They were in Montreal, the home of the infamous Montreal Screwjob.
But Bret's over that, saying if he were to come back, lace up the boots one more time, and have one last match, he would love no other place to do it than Montreal.
Which I thought was a big fuck you to Calgary.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, he lives in Calgary. He's like, I want to have my last match in Montreal. But they were in Canada. He was in there talking to Jerry Lawler, having a good time. And then his music would hit again.
And out would come the legend himself, Bret the Hitman Sandhart.
Yeah, Sandow would come out, and he was actually dressed in one of Bret Hart's
Singlets. Tights. And looked really cool.
Had the long hair, gray wig going on. Had the jacket. Looked great. I can't believe, like, I'm enjoying this
Now that he's doing
Sandow.
wrestlers,
Yeah,
I'm
and
on board.
well, he's still doing. He's only done wrestlers this week though. I mean,
Well,
I'm gonna hope they keep
wrestlers
doing
and
wrestlers.
wrestle-related
as
personality.
I don't think they're gonna stick with that though. I think they're gonna, because they've already
WWE,
doing the Paul
stick with
Revere,
that.
the Bruce Springsteen. They're gonna keep doing stuff.
WWE, stick with it.
Do the wrestler a bit. That's
We'll give it a shot. But yeah, Sandow would piss Bret Hart off, and Bret Hart would punch him in the face.
And that would be...
Yeah, it was, what was it? Talking was never your strong suit.
Oh yeah, they punched him
in the face.
No, punching was.
Which is, no, submission wrestling was, but whatever.
He was pretty good at punching too.
Yeah.
I mean, he knocked the shit out of Sandow.
Did.
But then we went to commercial and came back to a match that looked to be like Sheamus versus Bret the Hitman Hart. But it was really Sandow, still in Bret Hart's outfit.
Yeah. Yeah, Sheamus was out there.
Bret Hart said he wanted one last match in Montreal.
But unfortunately,
He didn't realize he was going to be Damien Sandow for it.
Yeah. And
Dressed in somebody else's body.
Bret the Hitman Sandhart would ultimately lose to Sheamus. And
JBL.
JBL, oh my god. Bret screwed Bret!
Yeah.
If there's anyone that makes these small segments mean something, it's fucking JBL. He adds in these quick little one-liners that are just fucking hilarious.
JBL's funny.
He is so funny. Up next, we'd have the match we found out about on SmackDown, where Miz would face Jericho. It was a solid match.
Yeah.
Nothing out of the ordinary from either of these guys, but it was the first time that they've worked each other in quite a while.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Jericho. Jericho hasn't been on TV for a while.
Yeah,
Miz
first match on Raw in a year.
Yeah, and Miz hasn't been on TV for a while, so it was a good match. Jericho would win, obviously looking strong going into Battleground, and then Bray Wyatt would come up on the stage and would start taunting Jericho and
Mocking him.
Save us, Y2J, save us, Chris. And he's doing a really good job at getting under Jericho's skin.
Yeah.
And that was good. You were waiting for the line, which we finally got, which was Bray running his mouth and, Bray, will you please shut the hell up? And Jericho would go on his rant about how it doesn't matter. You can say what you want to say. You can pretend what you can
kick your ass.
sing whatever song. But since it's just you and it's me, I'm gonna come up there. I'm gonna knock you out of your rocking chair, and I'm gonna beat your ass. And he starts to get out of the ring. We get the little screen warp, and we have the Wyatt family on either side of Bray Wyatt. Obviously, Jericho was smart and didn't try to attack all three of them. we would go to commercial. Up next, we'd have a really interesting tag team match. We've obviously been seeing issues between the Funkadactyls, but their tag team opponents, we haven't exactly seen a friendship out of either, and it'd be AJ Lee, the Divas Champion, and the former Divas Champion, Paige.
Yeah, that was weird.
Paige is acting very cordial towards AJ.
Yeah.
After what happened.
Yeah, considering how when AJ came back, Paige kind of beat her ass. Like,
yeah, and like that Raw segment with Paige running her mouth. That's what I'm saying. It's like it was a promo she was cutting, but she was being almost kind of heel-esque.
Yeah.
Not going full overboard heel with it, but I mean still like very. This is my place. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I
she
belong
was
here.
staking her claim.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in a kind of a catty, aggressive way.
Right.
That prompted AJ to come back, but ever since AJ beat her, we haven't been seeing like what you would expect out of a feud.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in WWE.
it's been almost an awkward friendship because we'd actually have Paige take the microphone and announce AJ before the match.
Yeah.
They'd come out and we'd pretty much have a glorified squash match where Cameron wouldn't tag in. She was busy doing lip gloss on the outside.
Yeah.
Naomi got beat down, and then Cameron goes, "Okay, I'm ready." Tags herself in, goes after Paige. Paige hits her with the Paige turner, and it's over. Funkadactyls would lose, and then we'd see the breakup of the Funkadactyls, which is why I totally think that Cameron's going to get cut.
Yep.
Because her talent, or
What talent?
her presence doesn't even match up to Naomi's ass.
Yeah.
Naomi's ass is more prominent than all of Cameron.
Naomi's ass is
I'm
more
already
prominent than a
wishing
lot
her
of
the best in
things.
her future endeavors.
I'm wishing her the worst.
Ooh.
You're kind of mean.
Thomas Wolfe doesn't like Cameron.
So we would have a promo from Paul Heyman with Cesaro that would lead into a rematch from last week. Kofi Kingston versus Cesaro.
Yeah.
Second week in a row.
Obviously, they'd want an on-the-air finish to the match.
Yeah.
Since last week,
Yeah.
a little
that's-
awry.
This is a rematch that I support because of that.
Yes, exactly.
Rematches aren't always bad. Just WWE. Stop doing them so much.
Just if you're gonna do a rematch, make it like, they had a match this week on Raw. They have issues on SmackDown. Makes them want to have another match on Raw or something like that.
They need to have
Spread
a
it out.
reason.
Spread
They need to
it
have
out.
a reason why they're having a rematch.
Yeah.
Listen to Bruno Sammartino on Colt Kevin Hawk podcast.
There you go.
Gives that exact reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Run a program with people, please.
Yeah.
Not just the main event guys. Let's have Kofi and Cesaro feuding.
Yeah, and we would have Kofi beat Cesaro again. Obviously, I think there was a plan last week, but this time they actually got to do their finish. Cesaro would go on his attack again, would beat the hell out of Kofi, but just before he was able to do too much damage, Kofi would be saved by Big E. Bo Dallas would continue his streak when he defeated El Torito.
Hey, a win's a win. If you're gonna win, make it a win.
He gave him a vicious
Thank you,
slam, though. Like,
Well, it's not difficult to
I
do
know.
a vicious slam on a dude that's
I was
2 feet tall.
surprised as to how vicious
Wait,
that
hold on.
was, though.
Whatever.
He went pretty hardcore on
Yeah.
Torito in that match.
Like, I liked it because it made him seem more like a heel. Because, why did you slam that guy that hard?
And watching Bo Dallas do the running up the turnbuckles bulldog on a
Yeah,
tiny bull is
running up-
really funny.
running up to the second
It's the
rope.
running of the bow.
Yes.
I like what you did there.
But the most important thing here is to acknowledge, yes, he is 13 and Bo. The streak lives.
And post-match, he'd be doing his victory lap, and he would hip check the shit out of El Torito.
Yeah.
El Torito,
Poor guy.
yeah.
Still some crap out of it though.
Anyway, so then
The main event.
we would go on to our main event, where I found this quite interesting that they have Mr. Money in the Bank facing the champion.
Yeah.
There was a little tension between the two of them earlier in a segment where Rollins would talk to Cena in his locker room and stuff like that. But unfortunately, like most Authority matches as of late, this would go to another no contest.
Let me guess. Interference.
Yeah, we'd have
Oh, geez. Surprise,
we'd have
surprise.
Orton run out and he would RKO Cena. Rollins would do his attempt to cash in. Ambrose came out. Him and Rollins would fight their way to the back, and then Orton would be left in the ring. He gets an attitude adjustment. Kane gets speared by Roman Reigns.
Ooh, those guys also came out.
And then Roman Reigns and Cena had that awkward, like, this guy.
That was funny because the
this
fans
guy.
ate Cena alive during it.
Yeah, they were
Like, that was...
very pro Reigns.
But, no, WWE, look, you can book a wrestler to lose and still make him look strong. Enough with this no contest, disqualification, bullshit that doesn't advance anyone.
Yeah.
Doesn't make anyone look stronger, it just makes everything leading up to it.
It just
seem
turns everything
meaningless.
into a clusterfuck.